I think everyone in business is concerned with overwhelm, burnout, stress, boredom, all the heavy hitting topics. And as we try to find ways to mitigate those problems, there's one thing that we almost always and consistently overlook, and I'm going to tell you about it in today's video. Hey, welcome back. This is Kevin. If you're feeling exhausted in your business, I've got a great video for you today, because a lot of people, when they're feeling tired or they're feeling overwhelmed or burnout, they go to their time management skills, they go to their calendar and they say, what's wrong with my calendar? And I hate to break it to you that it's not about managing your time at that point. And believe me, I teach time management. I'm a preacher of time management. I'm a practitioner of time management. So I'm not saying that time management is not important. I'm saying if you're trying to avoid burnout, stress, and overwhelm, there's something else you have to look at in conjunction with time management that will give you the key to the castle. And if we boil it down, the real currency we're working with in business is energy. Because all of that is more about managing your energy than your time. And the truth be told, you can have the best time blocking and task blocking system in the world, but if your energy is drained, it's not going to matter. Famous comedian Ron White used to say in one of his bits that this guy in Florida in Key West was going to strap himself to a tree during a hurricane. And Ron White's point was, it's not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. And then his punchline was, if you get hit by a Volvo, it doesn't matter how many sit-ups you did in the morning. And while I think that is hilarious, it's also true here that it doesn't matter how much you time block. If your energy is drained, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. If you think about it, how many times have you had a full day planned? Meetings, sales calls, lunch appointments. And then by noon, you're exhausted, staring at your screen mindlessly, scrolling social media, drinking coffee like it's your job. And I think we can all relate to that at some point in our career at some time. And that's just a clear indication that it's not about managing your time, it's about managing your energy. But why does energy matter? Well, McKinsey and company studied that 29% of entrepreneurs who maximize their energy outperform their competitors. Now, I'm not saying it's a competition, I'm just saying, wouldn't you like to do a little better than your competitors? So as I looked at this and I wanted to really kind of give you the greatest hits, I had to look at like, how can we break this down? Because energy is a huge topic, even time management is a huge topic. How can we break this down to where it means something to us? So I narrowed it down to 3 key points. 1, how to manage your energy. 2, how to stay highly productive. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is how to still grow even in high times of stress. Let's face it, the world is a little crazy right now, so we're all under a certain amount of stress, but we still want to grow. So how do we do that? The first thing we have to do is understand energy management, which means we have to understand our own energy. And most people have a vague conception of that at best. So let me break it down for you so that you can get a deeper understanding. There are actually 4 types of energy that you need to manage in your day: physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy. I think the default that most people go to is physical energy, meaning how much nutrition did you get, how much sleep did you get. That's normally the first stop. That's what we think about. That probably impacts us the most, if I'm honest. So you really want to look at your physical energy and say, have I done everything to take care of my body and my mind so that I can perform at my optimum potential? And that means enough sleep, enough food, how your body feels about your day. Next is mental energy, and that's basically your brain's ability to focus on the task at hand. So as you're time blocking and task blocking, you can see where it is. If your mental energy is down, you're not going to be able to focus on the task at hand. So that's where it would be a problem, where you're going to go through the motions and get it barely done, but you're not really going to operate at your best potential. So mental energy would be, have you taken breaks? Have you meditated? Have you prayed? Have you hit reset? Are you thinking about something else? Are you distracted? All of that falls into mental energy. Emotional energy is something that we tend to carry over into certain things in our life, meaning you got in an argument with your partner or your spouse at home and you brought that into work, or the boss told you weren't doing a good job and you took that into your sales meeting. All of these things kind of compound into the other things that we do in life. Emotional energy would be your resilience, your motivation, your ability to handle stress, all of those things that we have to do on a daily basis. So arguably, emotional energy is as important as physical energy, meaning your mind is not carrying things from other places into the task at hand, so that you're not self-distracted, you're not distracting yourself. And finally, spiritual energy. This is probably one I'll save for a bigger video because it does have a lot of undertones, but really spiritual energy is, are you aligned with your purpose and your mission? Is your team aligned with the organization's mission and purpose? So there's a lot of different ways you can go with that, but I think spiritual energy is the ability to avoid boredom. Boredom not being there's nothing to do, boredom meaning what I'm doing matters, I feel wanted, I feel important, I feel needed. Not just, what do you believe in a higher power? It really is, do you believe in what we're working towards here? Do you believe that this task is going to move us forward? Are you aligned with your purpose and your mission? So if you look at spiritual energy, it has a lot less to do with are you prayed up and a lot more to do with are you aligned. And if I was a betting man, I would say that most people come to me and say, I just need more time in my day, or maybe you're thinking that I just need more time in my day. And I find that it's not the time that we need, because we all have the same amount of time, as I say all the time, but it's what we're doing with that time, meaning is our energy maximized in our time blocks so that we're operating at our full potential. Most of the time you don't need more time, you need more focus. And to have focus, you have to have energy. And the reason that energy piece is important is because we're talking about decision making. You're making decisions all day long, and what we want is great decisions to be made. Well, protect those 4 types of energy, and you're going to make better decisions, hands down. Let me go over the CEO energy framework that I use in my mastermind. Now, let me say, I don't care what you call yourself. You can call yourself founder, CEO, I don't care what you call yourself. The point is, you're making decisions, you're in charge, and we want to make better decisions and preserve our energy. So that's what we're going to do here. Step 1 is protect your peak hours of energy. Like, you know, in the day where your energy is high and your energy is low, protect those hours. Cal Newport says in Deep Work that we only have 4 to 5 hours of peak energy hours per day, meaning anything over 4 or 5 hours, you're really operating on depletion. So if you take that into mind, you need to identify where those 4 or 5 hours happen. It's probably not right after lunch if you're like me, but it does happen first thing in the morning. And so identify those peak hours and capitalize on those times. Step 2 is managing energy drains. Did you know that 80% of our fatigue comes from task switching and unnecessary decision making? If I was that guy on TikTok, I'd say, now you do. That's from the American Psychological Association. So what do we do about that? A possible solution is to automate small decisions, meaning if you've got a task that shows up every day on your calendar, automate it or delegate it. Get it off your calendar, move it to something else. Another option would be to create routines that eliminate choices, meaning I wear black shirts every day. Why? It's because then I don't have to make a choice of what color. I know this shirt looks well against my background. That's the real reason why I wear black shirts. But the point is, I've already decided, so I don't have to make that decision in the morning. Or you could batch similar tasks together. If you're automating your sales process, you probably could go through your sales scripts and revamp those at the same time that you're automating your sales process. So you see where those two things are very similar, you could batch those together. Step 3 is probably the most controversial and my favorite of the CEO energy framework. It's recharge like an athlete. According to the Journal of Sports Medicine, Olympic athletes train in 90-minute high energy bursts followed by recovery periods. So we're going to take that idea and steal it. Time block should be 90 minutes followed by an immediate break. Now the break doesn't have to be a half hour. The break can be 10 or 15 minutes. It can be 5 minutes, but the point is you want to work highly focused for 90 minutes and then take a break. Have a recovery period throughout your day. You need to be doing 4 or 5 recovery periods a day. And while we're talking about breaks, we might as well talk about what real breaks are. Put your phones away, put your computers away, go outside, be outside in nature, walk barefoot, meditate, pray, do a push-up, do something that gets the blood flowing. That's a real break. A real break is not scrolling TikTok. I'm sorry, you may think that mentally resets you, but it doesn't. Your brain actually moves faster when you're doing that than it does when you're working. So you really want to craft your breaks as real breaks. That's a recovery period, and that's something you really need to focus on. So if we're operating as a high-level athlete, 90 minutes on, 15 minutes in a real break scenario, that's the optimal potential. So that's the CEO energy framework. And I find that important. It's just a 3-step process, but what it does clue us in on, it kind of challenges some limiting beliefs that we might have in business. Like we need to be working all the time. It's no, if you work 90 minutes and take a 15-minute break, that 90 minutes is going to be more productive than 3 hours of working at depletion. I work with a lot of people who lead teams or lead their team. And one of the things they always say is, how can I get more energy out of my group? How can I get more energy out of my people? Well, let's talk about that. If you're growing a business, this is important to you because the business can't grow unless everybody grows with it. We have to understand the energy transfer principle. Your energy as the leader, the boss, the CEO, the entrepreneur affects the entire company. If you're stressed, burnout, and reactive to problems, guess what? Your whole team is going to act in the same way. You've seen it happen. If you've got kids, you know that's how it works. And likewise, if you're focused, clear, and aligned, that energy also will transfer into your team to where they're going to feel like they need to do their highest and best because that's the example you're setting. So if you're a leader, here are 3 things to apply. 1, set the example. If you're working 24/7, your team will think they need to work 24/7 too. It's more important to have a productivity conversation, have a time management and an energy conversation that says, I want you working 4 hours, 5 days a week at your highest and best, as opposed to 57 hours a week where 35 of those hours are marginal. So if you set the example for them, they will follow. And in that, you need to encourage downtime, meaning make downtime something that is rewarded, that is praised, that is acknowledged, and schedule it into their day if you have to. But if you are really forcing the reset and forcing the mindfulness and forcing the paying attention to their energy and their 4 types of energy, you will find a team that is much more energized than you would otherwise. And probably the most unpopular one with leaders is manage the energy in meetings. I like to keep meetings under 30 minutes if I can. Beyond that, you lose people. People start to wander off into the after lunch classroom syndrome. And keep it to 30 minutes. That keeps you in a position of being effective and being productive. It also keeps the energy high during the whole meeting. In those meetings, set clear agendas. Here's what we're talking about. Here's what we're trying to accomplish. There's nothing else that will be discussed in that meeting. I know that's hard to do, but if you can do it, it keeps everyone engaged. It tackles the task at hand, just like time blocking and task blocking. It focuses on one thing. And when you do that, you kind of curtail anyone from sidetracking the meeting or derailing the meeting in any way. And lastly, and I love this one, never have a sit-down meeting. All meetings are stand-up meetings. Everyone is standing up, shifting around. Keep that energy going. No one is sitting at their desk, sinking into their chair. Stand-up meetings only. All right, so here's the bottom line. Productivity, high levels of productivity is not about doing more. It's not about managing your time better. It's about managing your energy better. Hey, thanks for joining us today. If you want to go deeper on your energy management, join the free mini course, The Hustle Detox. It's on the website at nextcrestcoaching.com. And there I'll walk you through reclaiming your time, scaling without burnout, and seeing results in your business almost immediately. The link's in the description of this video. All right, so big question for you. What's an energy drain you're going to eliminate this week? Drop in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If this video was helpful for you, consider subscribing to the channel. We get videos like this every Monday and Friday. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a little encouragement on my little channel here. I'd love to hear from you. My name is Kevin. I'm the founder of Next Crest Coaching. I'll see you next time.